Hey guys, Pablo Munoz here. Let's continue with this tutorial series on creating iridescent materials in 3D. So in this video, we're going to concentrate on recreating that effect in Blender, but if you want to check out the Marmoset Toolbag 4 or the ZBrush, you can just go ahead and click on the links. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right, so here we are in Blender. I'm using 4.0, and this is the same effect that we're recreating in this tutorial series. All right, so a couple of things to keep in mind about this video. I'm not an expert in Blender, so there's probably better ways or faster ways of doing this. I'm just going to show you what has worked for me and, something that I think gives you a lot of control and is actually very, very simple to set up. And, the effect is pretty convincing. A couple more things. I'm currently using cycles in the GPU with denoise. So this is cycles, but you can probably create the same thing in Blender if. And also in terms of the setup for this render, let me just show you what that looks like. Is very, very simple. I have this sort of like infinite wall, which is just a plane. I have a couple of lights, one that has like a blue tint and another one from the left that has like an orange tint. And this is something that I talked about in the Marmoset video, the importance of lighting up your scene, especially for this type of more kind of like metallic materials. So that's basically the setup. And obviously this is the crab and that's it. And I have a camera, but I think I'm not going to use it. So that's it. Very, very, very simple stuff. All right, so I'm going to go into rendering mode again, because I want to show you some things in here. All right, so the colors of this effect, this Newtonian ring or this iridescent material, it can be done based on a gradient. So that's basically what I use for this effect. So if I go ahead and let's actually bring in my shader editor here and select the crab, this is what I have. It's very, very simple. So I have the principal BSDF, right? Nothing crazy here. I have a color ramp, and this color ramp is attached to the tint, not the color. I'll explain why in a second. And I'm using this node that I found is quite useful for this type of effects. So I'm using the facing of this layer weight attached to the factor of this ramp. So basically, whatever I'm facing, whatever the camera is facing, is going to recreate this sort of gradient. And as you can see, these are like custom-made colors. These little flags, I created those myself and selected a specific color. So you can do absolutely anything that you want. All right, so those are the basics. So let's go ahead and recreate it so that you can see how it's done. I'm going to select the crab. I'm going to go to the shader and I'm going to remove that one and click on new. So here we have a nice clean clay render that actually looks pretty cool with the very, very simple setup that I have. But let's go ahead and set the material. If you don't see it here, this is another trick that I found recently. If you press the home on your keyboard, it sort of like brings you to whatever you have selected in here. All right, so we have the principal BSDF. Let's go ahead and press Shift A to search, and I'm going to type ramp. So color ramp, I'm going to select that one. Here is the color ramp that we're going to use. And also Shift A, let's search for layer weight. There we go. So these are the only nodes that we're going to use to recreate this material. Let me also hide these, pressing the letter N. Get a little bit closer here so that you can see the effect in real time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select a couple of very bright colors so that the effect is very easy and you can see how I'm plugging all these things and it kind of like makes sense and it's easy to understand. So I'm going to go ahead and use the red color here and then click on this flag and use a blue color. Okay, so we have a nice gradient with a purple in between. Now I can click on this color and plug it into the color. And there we go. You see, it just gives me a gradient on this base color. But if I take the layer weight and click on facing and drag it into the factor, right? And now whatever I'm facing is going to have that gradient kind of like from the normal of the polygon that is facing the camera or the viewport. And it's going to fade into this blue. So just to make things a little bit more obvious, if I go to this area of the eye that is like a rounded shape, right? You see whatever I'm facing is pure red. If I rotate things around slightly, maybe from the top, right? It's still the same object, the same sphere almost, but whatever is facing me is pure red, right? I can exaggerate this by just pushing this a little bit more, so that's a little bit easier. So you see, no matter what I do, what I rotate around, the red color is always facing me. So that is the key component of this trick on how you can fake this iridescent material in Blender. So all I've done really is just create a couple of different flags. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to select the red one. I'm going to start with a kind of like baby blue, maybe more bluish than that. All right, then I'm going to select this one and I'm going to use something that is closer on the right hand side to that blue. right? So I went from this baby blue cyan color to a darker blue, but I'm going to make it lighter, right? So it's very subtle, the difference. And then I'm going to click on this plus icon, and I'm going to add a new color. But now I'm going to move counterclockwise in this color wheel. So I'm going to select something like this. Let's click on a new one. Let's move this here, and I'm going to go for a green tone, a new one, and let's go for a yellowish tone. One more, and this time we'll go for a sort of reddish tone, and I think I need one more. So let's create a new one. And this one is going to be kind of like a purpley, maybe like a pink color. All right. Now the placement of these flags, they actually make have an impact into how things are displayed. You see, the effect is kind of like already there. That's all, right? But if I were to, let's say, push this one and make it a bit more uniform, right? The placement of this, it's kind of like changing the thickness of that layer, of that very thin layer film. And if you have already watched the Marmoset tutorial on how to create this effect, this is the equivalent to that thin film slider that we play around with to change kind of like how much interference the light rays have in this clear code. So that is just to say that in my case, I want to sort of like crunch these values closer to the right-hand side, which in turn, because I'm using this layer weight, crunching these flags of these colors towards the right-hand side is kind of like pushing them to the glazing angles or to the edges of the volume. All right, so that's looking pretty good. But instead of plugging this into the color, which I just plugged it in so that I can see what I'm doing, I'm actually going to add it to the code because that's a little bit more realistic than actually adding it to the base color. The base color could be any color and we can combine it with this. What I'm interested is in tinting the layer code, which is usually a very thin layer. So that's why you can just go ahead and open this code here and swap this from color base or base color to tint. Right? So right now it just loses the entire effect because the weight of this code is set to 0, but all we have to do is push this to 100 again or to 1 and we recovered that effect. Now this is ideal. Let's just go ahead and move this closer here. And this is ideal in the sense that we now have control over the iridescent material or the iridescent effect separate from the roughness or the color and the metallic from the actual base color. So for instance, I can make my character, let's actually remove this altogether just to show you what this does. I can make the crab fully rough, right? So there's no reflection. And then if I enable the weight, I can control the roughness of that thin layer of that iridescent material, which is pretty nice. In this case, I just want to make it like maybe halfway there. Also, just to mention it because it might be relevant for whatever you're doing, you can have like texture maps that you create in Substance Painter or similar, and then you might want to plug those images into the roughness, metallic, and so on and so forth. And then that way you also have the ability to add this iridescent material on top of your textures. Now, to make this effect a little bit more interesting, I'm going to make it fully metallic. So we have a nice effect in there. And let's go ahead and reduce the roughness of the iridescent material or this specific feature of the material. And the IOR or index of refraction, this is basically a very specific number that you can input to recreate a specific material. So glass has a different IOR from water or from vacuum or from air. So I reckon for this iridescent material, I'm going to leave this at 1.33. Okay, so it just changes things slightly, and these numbers actually need to be changed in a very, very small amount. If you change them quite drastically, it's going to have a very big impact. So 1.33 is what I'm going to go for. And on top of all of this, I'm going to select the base color and change it from white. I'm going to go for a, maybe like a red purple color or like a pink color. I don't know. And this is basically playing with the combination of the iridescent colors and the base color. I think just to make it interesting, I'm going to go for this sort of orangey color, like so. And that looks pretty good. Now, another thing that I did for my material is that in the specular, I set the index of refraction all the way to 1. So that makes it very reflective, and you can really see the effect. Now, to wrap up this quick tutorial, once you have this here, you can just go ahead and adjust it if you need to. So for instance, let's say the red color here, it might not be working for you. So you can just select that flag and just change it to a blue color or a purple color. That obviously changes that the realism a little bit of that iridescent effect. But, it's ultimately up to you, whatever you want to do with your iridescent material. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and swap to the original one. There we go. And just want to show you that everything is pretty much the same as I showed you before. So I think the roughness is a little bit lower. The metallic is fully metallic. The color is this orange color. And everything is set to the tint. The only slider that I haven't mentioned, so let's switch back to the one that we just created, is this blend in here. So this blend is kind of like switching between the full effect facing the camera and none at all. So if I set it to 0, there's no effect, right? We just have like almost the full information of the principal BSDF. But if I push this to 1, now we have the same effect, but kind of like tilted or pushed to the right hand side of this color ramp. So basically 1 is looking at this number right here, 0 is looking at this number right here, the one on the first flag of color. So somewhere in between, let's go actually move it down a bit. So I'm going to set it to maybe 0.7. I think that's what I had. So that makes it a little bit more obvious. And because I changed the color, let's just move them back to red and sort of purple. And I think the red is a little bit too saturated, so let's push it closer to the white colors. Right? So that looks more like the one that we had in the initial setup. So let's go back to this one. All right, so that is pretty much it. That's how you can create or fake a iridescent material inside Blender. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there might be other ways of doing it. This is just a very simple way that works, and it creates a pretty convincing effect anyway. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. Now, to fully wrap up this video and kind of like a segue to move into the next video, which is setting this iridescent material but in ZBrush, I have another thing here set up in this file. Let me just go ahead and show you what I have. Because you can do the same thing and create a bunch of really cool materials for ZBrush using Blender. So I'm going to turn off the crab, and I'm going to turn on a sphere. And this is just a single sphere, and I have attached the same material, the same crab material that I have for the crab, but to a sphere. Now, if I select the camera and go into my camera, and let's actually collapse this or join these areas here, you'll see that I have framed the camera so that it, looks at the entire sphere. Right? So if I go ahead and render this out, I can use the render of this sphere as a MatCap in ZBrush. So you might not want to have that, that plane because it gives you that reflection at the bottom. So we can just go ahead and turn that plane off. And this will give you a very nice render for a MatCap in ZBrush. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention, but it doesn't really affect the setup of the material, is that I actually have an HDR image. So you see the reflection of this. It's kind of like a workshop in here that is done within the world. So I have set up an HDR image here in the world, and that's what you're getting, all those extra reflections. And these two highlights are from the actual two lights that I have in the scene. All right, so once you're happy with your material and you have applied it to your sphere and you have framed it, you can just go ahead and click on render and render image. Now, I have already done that. I have already created the render. So let me just show you the final result. So it's pretty clean and it has that, that black background, but this image can be saved as a JPEG or a PNG image, and we can set this up as a MatCap in ZBrush. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next video on this mini series. All right, I'll see you there.